Hello, friends, and welcome to this episode of Life with Perry Martins. My name is Perry Martins, and today I just want to talk about something that happened. I think that being a good person also includes owning up to your mistakes and correcting yourself even when you make mistakes. And I think it's part of being a good person. Being a good person or being a faithful person doesn't only mean that you are always upright all the time. Nobody is upright all the time, right? People make mistakes, and part of being a good person is taking responsibility for the mistake you made and correcting yourself. And why am I saying this? Something happened recently. So I normally take my evening walks, and you guys know that it's during my evening walks that I do the podcast. Right? So I'm taking an evening walk, and then so I normally circle a couple of blocks in my area, so blocks are like city blocks. So here I was, taking a walk and then, going through one of the blocks, and I got to an intersection. So like a T-junction between a street and a road. And just there at that T-junction, a dog was there, and the dog was barking. And the dog was barking seriously. Now, if you have lived in Dubai, you know that there are no stray dogs in Dubai. Every dog is owned by someone. There are no stray dogs in Dubai. The only thing you see is stray cats. There are lots of stray cats all over the place, but you will never see a stray dog. So if you see a dog in the middle of anywhere and nobody is with them, then something's wrong. So this dog was barking. So it was obvious that the dog was distressed. But I got there and I was worried because I'm someone that loves dogs. I love animals, and dogs included. And I didn't know what to do, right? And the way busy city are, people are always passing, nobody's caring. And I think that's part of the ills of humanity in these days, when people are too scared of what might happen to help, right? So I was there and I stood there and I was thinking, what can I do? I've not owned a dog in a very long time. I've never owned a dog, but I love dogs, right? So I didn't know exactly what to do standing there. And I looked around, stopped, around where the dog was, looked around to see if I can find the owner or if I can get any clue of what is happening. I wasn't seeing anything. So I decided to move on, right? And probably come back again and see if this was a temporary situation or if really the dog is distressed. So I decided to move on. So as I, continued my walk, and I turned a block, I turned a major turn, and then I kept walking. So I came across a particular young lady. She passed me and I passed her. But I took notice of her, but I didn't really, put a thought to it. She passed me and I passed her, and then I turned through another edge of the block, and I kept going, and then turned again. Few minutes, into my walk, and I came back towards that intersection where the dog was, and from a distance, I noticed the lady I had seen earlier. She was around the dog. Right, she was around there, pacing around, pressing her phone, maybe trying to make a call or something, or looking for something in her phone. So when I approached her, by the time I was getting closer, she was no more looking at her phone. She was looking around and trying to look into some of the houses. Now this was an area that had villas, right? So if you live in Dubai, you understand. Villas are magnificent houses with high fences and gates. So I approached her and said, "Oh, is the dog yours?" She was like, "Oh no," she had this Middle Eastern accent. So she said, "Oh, that the dog it's not hers." That she also saw the dog. She saw the dog barking, and then she had also done a turn to come back to check to see if the owner had taken the dog. And now that nobody seems to own the dog that is around, that she's trying to see what she can do, and So I also told her that the same thing with me. I had taken a turn, I had come back, and I was wondering how I could help the dog. So both of us united in the mission, or what can we do for the dog? And she was more into it, more literally in charge of the situation. So she had gone to a couple of the buildings to knock on doors, to find out who owns the dog. And even the people who live around, nobody is coming out to say what is disturbing us here, which is another issue I am beginning to have with humanity. We care less these days, right? So, and even me, when I came the first time, I was worried that, me, an immigrant, or an expert, I'm not part of the owners of the city in quotes, so that I don't go do something and then get myself in trouble. It was a concern. But she didn't mind. So seeing her gave me the guts to, stay and, see what we can do. And she had knocked on a few doors and, nobody was opening. So as we were standing there, it occurred to us that this dog was looking skinny, meaning this dog probably has been out for days or hasn't eaten for days. So look, very skinny looking dog. So, and it was very unlikely because this is my area in quotes. So, and I've never seen that dog there. In fact, you'd never see a dog, like I said, you never see a dog in the UAE that does not have an owner, because dogs are not what you see, regularly. When I mean regularly, stray dogs, So she decided that, we should get him. We should get him, that she would get him something to eat. So I volunteered to go with her. So as we were going, we started talking. She was asking me questions, I was answering. I asked her questions, she answered. But she was quite an in charge person. So in that period of us walking from where the dog was to the nearest hypermarket, we got to know each other to a level. So she asked me personal questions, some that I was comfortable with, I answered. Some that I was not comfortable with, I answered. Now the truth is, so far I'm impressed with her person. She's an amazing person. Plus she's a pretty woman. So the man in me was already thinking, "Oh, nice lady, I'd like to get to know her more," and the rest of it, even though I'm married with kids. And I mean, this happens. It's just how you control it, And if you are truthful to yourself, and you're a married person, you would be able to agree with that, right? So, so as we were going and we got into the supermarket, she asked me if I was here with family, and I said, "Oh no." And I said no. And immediately it came out, some of those questions you answer and then you didn't think about it. Actually, I thought about it and I didn't want to divulge that I was here with family. And so I asked her and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm here with my brother and the wife." And guilt just washed over me. And I started thinking, why did I say that I was not here with family? Right? Why did I say I was not here with family? So, I mean, we continued, got the dog food, and then we came back. It was already getting late, so I told her, "You know what, I have to start heading home." In fact, I said I had a meeting, and it was already almost 9 o'clock. So she was like, "Oh no, I'm continuing. I'll take care of it. I'm fine." So she continued, and then she was like, "Oh, see you." So we were like exchanged, departing pleasantries, and she offered to. So I was like, "Oh, it would be nice to see you again." She's like, "Oh, okay. I mean, I can give you my Instagram, right?" So I mean, I wanted to ask for a number, but she was like, "Okay, I can give you my Instagram." I didn't ask for the number, but that was what I wanted to. Right, but of course I didn't want to push it because so she gave me her Instagram. Her Instagram had her full name, and while I was leaving, and then I was thinking, why did I tell this lady that I'm here alone? That's so wrong. That's so wrong. So I couldn't get myself to follow her on IG, right? Because following her on IG would mean she would see my IG, and I'll see her IG, and she'll probably get the sense that, oh, this guy, is married, so why did he say so? So I sent her a message on LinkedIn. I sent her a request on LinkedIn. She accepted a message on LinkedIn, and then I now told her on LinkedIn that, look, I'm sorry, I told you that I was not here with you asked me if I was here with family. I told you no, I'm here with family. So she responded, and after a while, I think she responded and but I gave you my IG, gladly. Like, I really wanted to connect with you, so I gave you my IG gladly. So, and I'm like, yeah, I know, and thank you and all, So, but the discussion went a bit not bad, but went a little bit south from there, right? But thinking up to myself, and I was asking myself, why did you do that? Why did you do that? So, but then again, the truth is that even when you are married, and let us be sincere with ourselves now, married people, even when you're married, it does not mean that you have quarrel with your wife at home. It just means that as a person, you still are attracted to other people, but you have chosen to stay with one person. So you remind yourself why you have chosen to stay with that. And once in a while, you're going to sleep. In terms of maybe not acknowledging to someone straight out that, oh, you're married, or some people even go to the extent of actually being unfaithful, right? But it doesn't change the fact that you are a married person. 1, 2, being a good person means that you own up to that situation, and you become truthful to both the person and maybe the person that you are in a relationship or you're married to say, oh, I did this and I'm wrong, right? Even though that can breed some level of distrust, but the truth is, even the person that you are with, they can't say, and this is the point we have to be truthful for ourselves. Even the person you are with, you are in a relationship, you are married with, they can't come and say that they have never looked or seen someone and wished they were with the person or liked the person, or just taking note that, oh, this person is a cool person, it would have been nice to be with this person. It's a lie. It's a lie. Even though a lot of people will argue it, and some self-righteous persons will come and say, oh, I've never looked at anybody. Is a lie. Is a lie. I know myself. I know where I'm coming from. I know the type of, I know the type of life I was living before I got married. So if there's anybody that has self-control, it's going to be me, and my wife knows that, right? But once in a while, you come across someone and you connect with someone, and the thought crosses your mind that if I was not married to the person I'm married to, this would have been a great person, right? But what happens is that you correct yourself to say, okay, now I'm off the market. That's not going to happen, and I focus on my goals and my family and what I'm dealing with, and I tell the other person, look, I am married, this is the situation that I am in, and it's amazing for me, right? So that I don't confuse you or lead you on, right? So I think that married people, number one, must begin to own up to begin to take responsibility and see that, because that is the number one part of the number one issue for men in marriage, is that it's not hunger, it's the temptation of seeing other persons out there or having other persons out there, right? So that's the number one temptation, which is the reason why marriage is a choice. You choose to be with someone as against others. It does not mean that there won't be other people that will show up and will look like they would have been better for you, but you have taken a decision to stay with someone, and you deal with it, you stay there, and you enjoy it, you make it work. So again, the moral of the story is that it's very important for you to be an upright person by owning up to mistakes. Now, whatever happens with the other person is none of your business anymore, because you have cleared your mind. You have been able to say, sorry if I misled you. This is my standing, or this is the situation. This is my it's not. I don't want to use the word situation. This is. I'm married, and I'm in case I don't lead you on. Number one. Number two is this. I think it's okay for married people to still be able to have friendships, work. And trust me that is saying this thing is a difficult place for me to get to. I used to think that once you're married, you cut off everybody and everything. But the truth is, you will still need to associate with people, relate with people at work, at around the area, on the streets. If you see people of interest, you should be able to connect with them, right? You should be able to connect with people. You should be able to have friends who you hang out with, whether they are ladies or guys, but don't hang out with a woman who you obviously have interest in. Don't do that. If you're a lady, don't hang out with a guy, especially, or your exes, or a guy who you have something for, or something going on for, right? Don't do that. You would probably hurt yourself or get yourself in a precarious situation. But it's okay to be friends with people. And I think at the end of the day, it's about the boundaries that you have set for yourself as a married person, to say, I can't go beyond this. If I can't go and hang out with a lady except it is work. And even if it's work, but then again, our world is a little bit complex, because your work can mean that you have to do some work over times, or some work at some places, or some meetings with certain persons in your team. So at the end of the day, it's actually about your personality and how you keep boundaries. Because at the end of the day, two married people, this is my opinion. My opinion is that you can trust the person you are in a relationship with, but it's to an extent, so that you don't get your heart broken. You can only trust the God in their life, and that is the truth. You can only trust the God in their life, for faithfulness. And that is the reason why when people now hear stories that, the person that they are in a relationship with cheated on them, they start making, they begin to make, how do they say, they get heartbroken and all. The truth is, even the person that is claiming that they are heartbroken, they are only claiming that they are heartbroken because they were not the first person to do the cheating. And that is the truth. Because they will not say that there was no someone, there are no people who they have seen outside who they liked or who had approached them. They just didn't take the opportunity. They didn't act on the thoughts, right? And that is the truth, because we are human beings and we need to tell ourselves the truth. You, as a young person, a married person, you cannot say that you have not seen someone outside who you liked, or you felt that this would have been a good match. In the days that your partner offended you, you didn't think about someone you met somewhere who you thought, this guy would have been perfect for me, not this one I have in my house. Right? 1, 2. Or people that also approached you. Because you are a human being and you will always be approached, always talked to. People will always like you. People will always want to be friends with you. And because you're married, you will be friends. So most times the people who get cheated on in relationships who now want to make it look as if they have been so faithful. It's not true. If we judge it by the way the scripture judges it, you have been faithful, because Jesus said even if you think it in your heart, you have done it. So what it means is that don't judge the next person, because you could have been in the same situation. It's just that you did not act on your thoughts, but you could have been in the same situation. And that is the truth. And I'm saying it as someone who knows what being celibate is, because I did it for 30 years. Not knowing any woman, not getting a relationship with okay, I tried to be in a relationship, but it didn't work because I didn't want relationships at the time. So I knew what it's like. So this is me sharing a bit of information with you. Thank you for listening to me, and do have an amazing day. Bye bye.